immediately like, this list sucks because this anime is not there. And I have to be like, I'm sorry I didn't like Birdie Wing. I know that due to evidence that I have presented to you about what the kind of anime I like, that you would read this list and go, how did Pat not like Birdie Wing? But I didn't like Birdie Wing. So I have to write a sentence in this thing defending your like of Birdie Wing and how, hey, I know people like it. It just didn't hit for me. I don't know what to tell you. How did Pat not like Birdie Wing? Exactly, John. I don't have to make those videos. I choose to make that concession. I choose to make it because I do like context. Like Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead. I'll say it again because I messed up the name. Yes, Lord Gresham, how dare I? Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead will not be one of my top 10 anime of 2023, despite its pilot being one of my 2 favorite pilots of any show. It just isn't going to make the list because it didn't put out all its episodes. December 25th, episode 10 is going to air. So to me, I can't include it. You say, well, Pat, last year, you made Witch from Mercury your anime of the year, and it hadn't finished its second core. It hadn't started, it's barely started second core when you made that. To which I say, yes, the first core of Witch from Mercury was the best anime of 2022. I stand by it. Can you include it in your 2024 list? Technically, John, yes, because episode 11 and 12 will have aired in the year 2024. So Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead technically came out in 2023 and 2024. So it could be included, and it might get included in my 2024 list. I haven't made that call yet. I won't know until I watch a whole lot of anime next year. But it can be included on a technicality. It also could just be included because I want it to. Because, like, let's be real. Like, Haikyuu made my list, and I don't think the season that made Haikyuu that was eligible was their best season. But I watched all of Haikyuu that year, and Haikyuu as a concept made my list. I can say the same thing about Nanan Biori. I don't think the final season of Nanan Biori is the best of all of the Nanan Biori seasons, but I watched all of it and the movie that year. And it was very good. So it got in there. Even though I think the second season is probably the best season of Nanan Biori. Nanan Biori nonstop. Is that the third name? The second? I can't remember. So, everything has its caveats, but I didn't want to include that. Oh, we dropped down to 46. This makes sense. This is when, around this time, and the beginning of November, is when I started talking about the Crunchyroll promotion that was happening. So it makes sense that this is the time, a month ago, when people were gifting subs. So it does make sense. September's Revenge. No, this is... Oh, yeah, if I gift you 2 subs, I'll get 60 days. And then in a few days from now, it'll drop down 10 because that is how many gifted subs Bunny Fiend gifted. Now, would it be better if new people were subscribing? Or more new people were subscribing than people that have been around for a while letting their subscription lapse? Or if any of the gifted sub people converted that into a paid or Prime token sub? Yes. There's no but to that. The answer is yes. But also no one has to subscribe. You subscribing is rad. I appreciate it very much. I am under no delusion that you owe me anything. I'm not out here trying to say that you should feel bad. The reason why I include this is because people like to see, people, including myself, but certainly myself, like to see results. Number go up. Good. People like that. Hello, Vicky. Also, when people see, oh, I'm 4 away from my goal, that feels approachable. If I gifted a sub, we'd be even one closer. When we're at 49, I'll gift a sub, or I'll subscribe. I haven't subscribed before, or I haven't done it in months. I'll do that. Let's get to that number. It incentivizes. There was a actually shitty person, so I won't name them, in the Hearthstone streaming community that used to do a thing where he would say, all right, 46 subscribers, 46 out of 47. And then if someone subscribed, he'd go, all right, 47 subscribers, 47 out of 48. Our goal is 48. And he would always just up it by 1. And it was a joke, but it worked. It feels a little scummy. And again, this person turned out to be not the best, which was seemingly unrelated to this one particular thing. But that is, I was like, that's a tactic. You can go with that tactic. I don't feel great about that, which is why I have a goal. Which is why if I get under, let's say I drop down and I'm below 40, it would make sense from a content grinding perspective to drop my goal down to 40. If I'm at 39 subscribers and I want to get to 50, well, I start by trying to get to 40, and then I go, hey, we're now going to shoot for 50. Let's go for it. Instead, I keep it at 50 because that is the goal. The goal used to be 40, and I changed it to 50 because that is that 10 amount of subscribers. Harold just resubbed, 73 months. That is a ridiculously high number. Thank you so much, Harold. Let's throw the Bear Cave Lego Scythe Tier 2 blue emote in the chat. Thank you, Harold, very much for that. That's 73 months is so many months. That's just a ton of months. I appreciate your continued support, my friend. But yeah, 50, that 10, the difference between 40 and 50 is a better, more model kits. Not better, more model kits a month. It just adds to it. That $10, or that, not $10, it's not actually $10 because it's not $50. It's not, it's complicated. Going from 40 to 50 does actually benefit my purchasing strength per month, which is great. It is necessary. So I've got a few things to talk about here. I got some gaming things to chat about. I've got some some bad news for the world of entertainment and some nonsense. Let's just start with one. Look, this is just funny to me in a way, and I felt like I needed to share it. Let's talk briefly about the Game Awards. It's not the Gamer Awards, it's the Game Awards. The Game Awards is happening this week. Will I be streaming it? No. Will I talk about it on Thursday's stream while it's happening? Yeah, probably. Will I talk about what happens during the actual stream that I didn't cover on Saturday? Yeah, probably. Am I going to do a big preview right now of all the categories? No. I'm going to tell you one specific category that I want to chat about. Player's Voice. Player's Voice is the category where they started with, I believe, 20 games or 30 games. They started with a large number of games. And voting is taking place, and it's all audience vote. A load of BS almost as big as the college football playoff. Yes. But so this is the one where gamers' voice matters. This is the one that is, it doesn't matter what industry people said. Yes, John, because the Game Awards shows trailers for upcoming video games. That is why people care about it. Oh, also tribalism. They want the game they care about. They want the game they like to do well, and they don't want the games they don't like to do well. Yes, you'll log in and you vote. You can do it in fucking Fortnite, whatever. This is not what I want to talk about. I'm specifically going to talk what I want to talk about, and then I'll come back to things that you have said as well. So it started with a high number. It is now down to 5. And now you can vote on the 5 nominees, and your vote will be the player's voice And you can go to thegameawards.com, not even Game Awards, got to go thegameawards.com, and you can vote. And I will now tell you the 5 games that you can vote for the player's voice. Baldur's Gate 3, Genshin Impact, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, specifically Phantom Liberty. Sorry, let me just find the pizza I need here. The parts I need here. Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Those are the 5 games that have been reduced down because of nominations of people voting to get it down to the 5 nominees. It started with many. It's down to this number now. And these are the 5 that you and anyone can vote for. And you're like, Pat, does that mean there are just a lot of Genshin Impact people out there, like lovers of Genshin Impact, that are doing whatever they can to vote for their favorite game to make sure that it is among the player's voice and will most likely win? Yes, that's what that means. What else can we extrapolate from that? Is there a video game that wasn't in many categories, or actually wasn't in any categories, that wasn't nominated this year, that came out this year? Was there a big game, a game that assuredly people will tell you was a very big video game that came out this year? It was a big video game, and the game's media made sure you didn't hear about it as much, even though it had ads on television and many websites and Twitch. No, the game's journalists, quote unquote, journalists, made sure they didn't go out of their way to tell you about this game. And when they did talk about it, they said lies and they made up stuff. And they believe that no one likes this game because there are people who are too afraid to admit that they love the game. And people that played the game got asked, why are you playing this game? And they felt bad. But don't worry, because even though it didn't get nominated for fuck all this year, it's going to be nominated for Player's Voice and is going to win Player's Voice. It didn't get the list because people who are so hurt about having to possibly feel bad for playing Hogwarts Legacy didn't actually vote for it or vote enough, and it's not one of the 5 nominees. And do I care about this category? No. Do I care about the Game Awards? No. Am I just fucking so pleased? Yes. Yes, I am. Is it petty of me? Yes. But the people have spoken. The people have spoken. We're down to 44 subscribers. I forgot to put that up there, so it's fine. But yeah, the people have spoken, and they say, nah, we don't really actually like it. It's more about being mad, about being oppressed, the illusion of oppression that exists because I don't want, well, 2 things. One is the perceived idea that I shouldn't have to explain myself, that people shouldn't have to explain themselves, and they could just do whatever, and there shouldn't be any repercussions or anything similar to that, or acknowledgement of those things. That's the first part. And the second part is that people who are doing that are just doing it for clout or some bullshit, or they played it. A game that seemingly didn't even sell that well. But definitely that's not the reason. And I don't look for people getting fucking pissed off about this shit. That shit comes to me. That is other people get upset about those things and then get retweeted by people, and then it just shows up in my feed. But I have seen retweeted in my feed at least one example of someone coming up with a valid reason, and that's in air quotes, a valid reason why it wasn't included. And that is that people didn't vote for it because they knew it wasn't going to get enough votes. So they didn't waste their time on the Game Awards. And again, one, Game Awards sucks. Who cares? Yes. But two, they very much do care about the Game Awards. And it specifically, they cared about this category of the Game Awards because it was going to show that the games journalists out there don't represent the people, because the people know what their best game, what their favorite game of the year is. And this category is going to prove them all, prove the naysayers wrong, which it didn't. It just listed 5 video games. It listed 4 games that came out this year. It listed 3 games that came out this year. 1 DLC that has gotten rebranded as if the game came out this year in a marketing stunt that people seem to be owning, and Genshin Impact, which will probably win this category because it is a video game that people really like, and those people really wanted to win awards. Dirty says Warframe got snubbed for the Game Awards and Steam Awards this year. The Game Awards for Best Community Support and Steam for Labor of Love. Did Genshin also do the thing where they give you in-game currency for winning? I believe that there was that last year or the year before, they did something where if they did well, then the entire community would get rewarded, not specifically people who voted. So they did have an incentive as a quote unquote celebration, but it wasn't necessarily if you vote, click here and you will get something. It was that everyone got rewarded. So people that don't give a shit got rewarded as well. Something similar. But apparently Warframe will be on stage again at the Game Awards this year. Apparently, people can nominate whatever. Yes, that's why Dave the Diver is in Indie Game, and Cyberpunk is in games that came out this year categories, despite it just being DLC. You can just nominate whatever. If your publication or you, an individual who is a judge for the Game Awards, if you want to nominate The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for best sports game, you could. Best sports game / fighting game. You could just do that if you wanted to, because there is no stopping that, because they don't care. But enough people would have to vote for it to get in the category, which means many games critics and journalists and news writers and whatever, and devs voted for it. That's what it means. To go back to the point of, does anyone really care about the Game Awards? So the people that care about the Game Awards are people that want to see trailers for video games. They care about the Game Awards. People who have a obsession with certain video games and certain game developers and their own community want that. Devs, game developers want to be awarded for their games. Yeah, they want to be recognized. They want to be awarded. Some of them want to be auteurs. Some of them just want some recognition. Some of them want a thing. So when they go to their publisher, the publisher of choice, the next time they're pitching a game, they can say, well, our first ever video game won best indie studio or independent game at the Game Awards. We were nominated for 5 things at the Game Awards and we won two things. They want that because people with money and no sense of anything will go, oh, you won awards, huh? That is why when I am applying to work in theaters, I say that I am a 3-time ECNY award winner for Best Technician. A thing that didn't mean anything. That didn't mean anything to anyone. It was the Emerging Comics and New York Award, and then they got rid of that and just made it they made it just the acronym became the thing, and it stopped meaning anything, and it doesn't mean anything. But it does say that I was awarded 3 years in a row for the Emerging Comics of New York Award for Best Technician because my peers decided I was the best tech for comedy in New York 3 years in a row. Every year I was nominated. And the only reason I stopped winning is because I asked them to stop nominating me because other people deserve to be recognized. So I would have won at least 2 more years before that award show ended. And it means nothing. But it's nice to say that. Now, a real credit for mine is that I was once named one of the 25 comedy linchpins in New York by Time Out New York. Time Out, a magazine that existed in many cities. That Time Out is the magazine you get when you are a stranger to a city to find out what's cool and happening there. Them being recognized by Time Out New York is a credit that is kind of fucking fantastic. Now, do some people give a shit about that? No. But some people will. And that's the Game Awards. Some people will give a shit about it. There are many people that are like, ooh, it's nominated for an Oscar? I'm not going to see that movie. Because to them, the idea of being nominated for the Oscars means that it's Oscar bait, which means it's not interesting to them because they have decided in their heads that they don't do that. And the same thing for the Game Awards. You could look at the categories of the Game Awards and go, I don't want to play any game that is nominated for Best Community because online communities are bad. You could just look at it like that and make your decision on that. Is that right? Is that wrong? It's a little wrong. It's a little right. Some want to capture famous people's souls in their scanning rig. Well, yes, that's certainly... the Game Awards is just a long con to get famous people in Kojima games. Yes. Now you can add your BWBW championship to your resume. Yes. Yes, if I wanted to, I could say, has held wrestling belts in 2 fictional wrestling companies. That is true. And that is a true statement that I could add in there because it is true. In 2 fictional wrestling companies, I have been a champion. Instead, sometimes I have produced a comedy show themed on wrestling for many years that featured real professional wrestlers in some capacity. I could say that because it's true. And perhaps it would incentivize some people to go, hey, wait, what's up with that? What was that? What? Like the person, this was a year and change ago, that was like, because it was a theater job, going, what was ECNY? And I explained it and said, oh, it was an award show and, it was voted by people in the community. And I was somewhat respected in that field for many years. And it was like, oh, that's cool. And then we talked about other things. That's how it works. Anyway, this. We talked way more than I thought we would about this. No. Well, one, Harold, I don't, that doesn't remind me, I do need to post in the League of Heels for December because I want to post on Twitch monthly on there so the account doesn't go anywhere. But yeah, theoretically, I could give myself a belt. What I would do if I was going to give myself a belt in League of Heels, it would not be the main championship. I would not do that. What I would do is I would invent a new title to give to myself in a storyline. We have 2 belts. We have the Jeff Green Memorial belt, which is a green belt, a karate green belt. Jeff's not dead. He just stopped going to PAX and we miss him. And the other belt is, of course, our world title. I would most likely create a new title, award it to myself, and then also lose it in the same show. If I was going to do that, and I don't mind telling you that because I don't think we'd ever do it. But if I was gonna, that's how I would do it. Anyway, I really just want to rag on Hogwarts Legacy. And I did. There is a trailer for, which was going to come out not today. Yes, Harold, 2024 will be the 10th anniversary of the original Rumble. League of Heels will not have a show in 2024. I can just tell you that right now. We're not going to have a show next year. I don't know if I'm going to a PAX next year. Aaron's not going to a PAX next year. League of Heels will not have a show. If I go to a PAX, it won't be with League of Heels. I'll say that. I can just flat out tell you, 10th anniversary is really cool. I'm not doing that show. I am not asking anyone to go to a convention ever again. If I go to a convention, I will never encourage people to go because I am there. And League of Heels doesn't work unless a bunch of people start going to conventions again. And it can't be because I think they should go. You know what I mean? If they go on their own, that's awesome. But part of it working, like number one contender, has a wish, is the champion. Those people don't go to PAXs anymore. And I can't be like, hey, do you maybe want to get COVID? Like, I just can't do that. So I'm not going to do that. Will I go to a PAX next year? Maybe. I might go to PAX next year. If I go to a PAX, will I do a panel there? Also, maybe. Will it be League of Heels? No. Moving on. Rockstar. Grand Theft Auto 6. There's going to be a trailer. You can watch it early if you wanted to. You could just watch it if you wanted to. It's back. They're back in Vice City. There is a press release. Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming to PlayStation 5, computer entertainment systems, and Xbox Series X and S games and entertainment systems in 2025. So this press release does not say PC games. It does not say coming to Steam. Which means that a game that is going to take fucking forever is going to be stuck in the fucking past and not have a date, possibly, seemingly, until proven otherwise, will not have a day and date release in the with the PC version in a fucking video game that comes out in 2025. So I might not play Grand Theft Auto 6 until 2026. Maybe it'll come out day and date and they just didn't include it because Rockstar's doing their thing. But if you told me that Rockstar was going to be the very last company to not do day and date PC releases, that is not also a company that owns a system like Sony, a third-party game developer, if they're the holdouts, the last ones, I would totally believe you. Also, this is just a thing that I noticed about myself. And maybe it's harsh, and maybe you believe this, maybe you don't believe this. Maybe this is something that you're like, Pat, I don't know what you're talking about. Notwithstanding the many good people that live in the state of Florida, Harold included, I think I just don't care about Florida jokes anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I cared about Florida jokes when this game started development. You know what I mean? Like the state flag of their Vice City state flag has like a baby being eaten by a crocodile or a gator, and I'm just like, yeah, oh boy. Like, I don't know. Like, look, I'm a bit of a GTA 5 hater. I did not love my time in GTA 5. The three protagonists, the switching at any time, I don't really like this character, I'm going to focus on the other ones and I can move forward. And I've kind of run out of stuff, so now I got to go play the character I don't care about. But it's fairly seamlessly that I'm just like taking over and like, oh, he's up to shenanigans, and we'll get into this part and we'll do this. And okay, like, yeah, that stuff's fun. I thought that stuff was neat. But I was kind of done with that style of humor. Like the Rockstar satire of America through the lens of British people in the 90s. I was a little over in GTA 5. Also, you have to do very early on in the game, you have to make a character that I don't enjoy playing as, which should not be a prerequisite that I have to like everything, but it was a character I did not enjoy. You had to start as a character that I did not enjoy, and you had to do a horrible thing to a character from a previous game that I did like. And I was like, this is a bad first impression of this character, is that, hey, here's a new character you're playing as. Go murder a character from a previous game. Oh, did you like him? Well, tough shit. You have to murder him. You can't not murder him. I was like, okay. So, bad first impression. But really, it's just like, I don't think I want, I want to say this. I don't think I care what Rockstar thinks about Florida. There, okay. I have now said what I wanted to say there. I think I found the words I wanted to say. Took me a little while there. My apologies that it took so long to get that out. That's how I'm feeling. I don't think I give a shit what they think about Florida. And obviously, there are probably a lot of people who work there who have not been there for decades and are writing interesting, clever satire. Like, it's totally possible that there's going to be some really good shit in that game. And when I get around to playing it, I'm going to be like, oh, that's funny. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's clever. That's totally possible. But, I don't know. And again, 2025. We're almost into 2024. So they're like, yeah, we have a game coming at some point. I feel like the world constantly changes, and I feel like humor ages poorly in general. And you got to be okay with that and put stuff out there knowing that someday it's not going to age as well as you would like it to. Now's the time for every 2023 release to be delayed to 2024. I mean, yes. I mean, they already have. I don't think we're getting new video games, like the DLC for Power Wash Simulator. The last announced DLC for Power Wash Simulator is postponed to sometime next year. The Warhammer 40,000 stuff is not coming out this year. No date announced, just not this year, y'all. If you thought we were going to get one more, I did not think we were going to get one more DLC. I thought there'd be more spacing. Level 5 had a showcase full of delays. Yeah. Video games, they're difficult to make, and people keep getting laid off, which makes it more difficult to make. That segues nicely into Spotify lays off 1,500 employees, which they have already laid off a ton of people. Turns out, taking incredibly popular, buying a company that makes incredibly popular podcasts, and then making it so fans of those podcasts have to listen to those podcasts on Spotify, which people in large quantities don't want to do, causes those podcasts to lose listenership, and then allows for Spotify to cancel those podcasts. In some cases, award-winning podcasts. Peabody award-winning podcasts. It is not a surprise that this is happening. Yes, congratulations. I'm very excited about everyone's rapper. I understand. No streaming platform is good about paying. And in some cases, Spotify is a little better for some people. Now, Spotify will is soon going to be worse, because there are going to be now pretty soon, there are going to be people on Spotify who don't qualify to get paid by Spotify because they won't have enough reach to warrant Spotify paying them at all. That's just coming next year. That's just coming. So there will be people who don't make enough money to make any money on Spotify. And it's such a small percentage, Pat. It's not a small percentage. But yeah, so they're basically, they just get to decide, oh, you don't make enough money on Spotify for us to pay you. They just get to decide that. Yes. But people need you to know what music they listen to on Spotify. So they got to do it. Also, that idea came from a pitch meeting with an intern. So the idea of the Spotify rapper, the credit cannot go to that person because she was not an employee and they didn't have to pay her. Hooray! Spotify. Yes, Lord Crashington. So YouTube changed they changed their metrics on how you could become a member of their partner program. They changed the amount of they changed the ways you could get into the partner program, thus kicking out many people from the partner program, some of whom they let back in almost immediately when they changed their minds on some of their changes. But yes, so YouTube, but here's the thing. YouTube was just like, some people don't qualify to make money. Those people weren't actually really making money anyway because they this is weird to say. Some people who got kicked out of the partner program never actually ever got any money from YouTube, which also includes the fact that you have to make $100 before you can get a payout. I have had 2 payouts in the years that I have made content for YouTube, and I had a couple very good years, and I still only have made $200. Oh, I've almost made $300 because I'm almost at the part where I'm going to get paid again. I'm a couple months away from getting paid again. But yeah, they basically changed some of their stuff. Yes. And certainly they withheld money by kicking people out of the program. Certainly. I'm not saying they didn't do that. But I am saying that a lot of people who were in that program were probably never going to get a payout. Whereas Spotify is just like, yeah, you theoretically would make some money from us. And please keep making stuff on here. But we've decided you'll never get any money from us. They're just decided. Some people will just never get paid from them in the future ever. Because they just get to do that. Anyway, Spotify started turning a profit again this year, but still laid off people, which is 17% of their staff that they just laid off. A lot of this, people will say, like, okay, well, you can look at certain things to figure out what's going on here. Some of it is the perceived idea that all of the money they made during lockdown would just always exist and would just grow, that things will infinitely grow, that you can't, that's just how it is, and things will always grow from there. Some of it is the belief that, some of it is the low interest or no interest loans that people got, that doesn't exist anymore. So they're just the access to money is different how it used to be. And even though their revenue went up, it doesn't match with their projected. And a lot of the time, that is a big thing that we have to look at, right? It's like, it was profitable. The changes they made previously were big changes that helped them. Any company, they're looking at other things. They figured these things out. They started going this way. Things are on the up and up. But these don't match our projections that we made that are unrealistic. That is the part that doesn't get said out loud all the time. It's fun. But yeah, so this is, they have laid off, I'm going to look up the total number now. In January, they laid off 6% of their workforce, which is, how many people was that? Well, I think that was just, I don't have an actual number for that. But then they also laid off 200 people after that. And they've also increased their prices, which is why their numbers, their money went up a bit. And a bunch of companies like them did the same thing. After record profits, they were like, actually, we need to lay people off. Because, as always, I am not the first person to say this. I am not making some grand revelation. This is just, unfortunately, a thing. Layoffs often don't have anything to do with how hard people worked or the income that came in or the work people put in. Smarter people than me have said that when you get those emails saying that everyone needs to buckle up and put their heads down and make some things happening and we've all got to work together, what you should do instead is start sending out your resume, because that is the beginning of the end of the good times. That less good times are coming, which is a shame, but is unfortunately very accurate. Because even if you do all that work, people are still going to get laid off because because numbers on a spreadsheet say that that's better, and that's all it is. Sucks. Sucks. Hey, if you've got PlayStation Plus stuff, that the season of play is happening for PlayStation Plus people. Some of it is like some gifts, some games that, as long as you pay, you suddenly get them. Discounts on gear if you want to buy some stuff from their store. You can get that on the cheap or better. And then also, I gotta look this up. Where is? Oh yeah, some free multiplayer weekends, which doesn't quite make sense because you're still paying them money. Oh no, it's everybody gets the free PlayStation weekend. That's right. Also, PlayStation Plus members, you can get some anime. You can get some Crunchyroll stuff. Remember not to rent or buy anything from Sony. But if you are in the US, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, you will get some stuff in there like 86. Welcome to Demon School Irregular, which fucking whips ass. To Your Eternity, and other things that are coming in there. And then other regions are going to get that later. They're starting with that. No mention if that is going to be dubbed, subbed, both, simul, but that's coming. So if you don't have Crunchyroll, but you do pay for PlayStation Plus, more access to anime, which is cool. Welcome to Demon School Irmakun whips ass. That's very funny comedy. It's a multi-season comedy. That's rare, so that's fun. So yeah, watch that if you can. Let's see. Do I have any gaming news? Let's see. More Resident Evil remakes. I didn't see this. This is new to me. I did not see this story, so I'm going to tell you about this story from the Kotaku. Let's see. So we're getting more. This is a quote here at the PlayStation event. This is from Anpo, who is the director of the 4 remake. We released 3 remakes, Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4, and they have been received well. Since it allows a modern audience to play these games, it is something I am happy to do as someone that loves these older games, and we want to continue doing more. What game we'll remake in the future is something that we would like to announce in the... Hello, Crazy. Welcome. What games we will remake in the future is something that we would like to announce in the future, so please look forward to it. That sentence has "in the future" twice. So in the future, they're going to remake the games and announce other ones in the future. So this is kind of a non-story. I apologize for even bringing it up. It's kind of interesting to say, like, oh yeah, all right. Of course they would remake ones. Would it be Code Veronica? Like what? Like, are they going to remake 5 and 6? Like what? What are you going to remake? Like, what other games are we doing here? Like, what Resident Evil games are we going to remake? But we don't know. And then, of course, the person in this article is like, the Resident Evil game they should remake is Dino Crisis, which is, like, obviously written in jest, but I thought was pretty funny. To be like, yeah, well, you know what they should do? Fucking remake Dino Crisis, goddammit. Yeah, 2009's Resident Evil 5, 2012's Resident Evil 6 came out on the fucking 360 and PS3, so maybe you don't need to remake those. Also, 6, people really didn't like 6, so I don't know. But yeah, Code Veronica feels like, you know, it's a Dreamcast game. You could remake a Dreamcast game if you wanted. But I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. But that's weird. Let's see. It would be a good way to redo those that were not good. I mean, I guess, or you could just pretend they didn't happen. You know what I mean? I think that might be the better way to go. Instead of, like, redoing them and trying to make them better. Because I think fundamentally, like, I would say this. I don't think Resident Evil 6 is a bad playing video game. I just think that it, like, is soulless and weird and, like, I think it was one of those things where they're like, oh, well, you know what people come to Resident Evil for is combat encounters. And it's like, that's part of it. But I don't think this is fun or good. I don't know. I don't know what you would do to make 6 better. Resident Evil 6 was trying to be every type of RE fan. Yeah, it did. It felt unfocused. It felt like it was trying to be like an Uber game. And yeah, you know, I think Resident Evil 6 is meant for people that convince themselves that they really like that Resident Evil game. That kind of think that ends up what it is. Over on the wrestling side, I don't have a lot of wrestling news chat about. Was 6 the Toys R Us mascot logo one? Yes. Wrestling news. Let's see. Old school WCW fans may remember that there was a wrestler that competed as the Kiss Demon. It was a tie-in with Kiss. The particular wrestler, Dale Torborg, which is when your name is Dale Torborg, I feel like you should just be a wrestler named Dale Torborg. And you should just go by Dale Torborg and not be the Kiss Demon. Anyway, there was a wrestler named the Kiss Demon. He wasn't a great wrestler. The gimmick wasn't that great. They didn't actually care about it, but it cost a lot of money, so he was in a bunch of things. Anyway, Dale was one of several wrestlers that attended Kiss's last show. That's right. Kiss the band, after many, many years of being a band, he's no longer going to be performing live as a band, but they are going to make digital advertisers digital avatars, advertisers as well, of the band, and they will continue to perform as Vocaloids, as VTubers, as whatever. Kiss will continue. Should it? I don't think it should. I don't think it needs to. But whatever. It will continue in digital form. And yeah, I bring that up only because Dale Torborg was there. And I think it is funny that the Kiss Demon attended that show, along with some other wrestlers. Yes, they are Hatsune Miku-ing Kiss, which is pretty funny. Crazy says Okada's contract will be up in 2024. Yeah. I think Okada stays in New Japan. I think Okada's going to re-sign to New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't think Okada is going to come to the States. I think Okada... here's the thing. Okada can stay with New Japan and still wrestle occasionally for AEW, which means he doesn't have to live in the United States, work for an American company, but he also gets to then just work for AEW on occasion. And I think that's going to be the case. I don't think Okada is going to sign with the WWE or AEW. New Japan needs to back up the money truck to keep him. Yes. Well, they just freed up a bunch of money. Not saying that they made the same amount, but they're not going to be paying Ospreay next year. And again, I'm not saying they paid the same amount, but I am saying they are freeing up some cash by not having Will Ospreay on the books. They'll find it. But I think that Okada being in New Japan makes sense for everybody. Most specifically, Okada. I do think that early next year, you're going to see some Japanese talent doing better than they had done previously in major companies as a fucking racist attempt to say, well, look at this other wrestler we didn't use well for many years. We're using them well now. Please come. But yeah, I actually don't see him going anywhere. I think he's going to stay in New Japan. There will be Japanese wrestlers that make the move. I just don't necessarily think that Okada is going to be one of them. Did I put this on wrong? This goes in like this. Is this on right? I think I did this right. Does it bend? Yeah, this bends properly. Okay. You never know sometimes. Sometimes you never know. You do it and you're like, I just did this correctly. I nailed it. And then you're like, actually, I didn't. I fucked it up. Oh, no. Let's see. And then, unsurprisingly, the name for the next AEW pay-per-view that's happening at the end of the year, World's End. Unsurprisingly, that pay-per-view is named after the pub. Inspiration struck. Tony Khan in London saw that the pub, he claims he saw the pub's name and said that should be the name of a pay-per-view, which it should be the name of a pay-per-view, but also like, come on, be a little more inventive, Tony. Let's see. That's fun. Let's see. Speaking of AEW, Yuka Sakazaki, who you may know from her time, she is a signed wrestler to AEW. You wouldn't know it for the fact that she doesn't wrestle for them ever. She is a signed wrestler. She's in the video game. She has been finishing up her last year in Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. She's graduating from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. Some people thought her graduation was on the 1st. It wasn't on the 1st. Her graduation actually this Wednesday. And she is not retiring. She's graduating. She is moving to America full-time to seemingly be with her boyfriend, who is also in AEW. That seems to be the case, but of course that's conjecture on my part. But that does seem to be the situation, is that she's going there to be with her man. and to graduate out of the system, which makes sense. She was injured for a good portion of this year. I should also say, her last match is on Wednesday in Japan, but then also this coming weekend, a video that they filmed way in advance will air. So she'll have her last match, and then she'll be in a video. Also, she probably isn't done. She'll probably work major events, but she is just not going to be a regular member of the roster going forward. And we wish her the best. We always wish her the best. Is this 11 and 12? I need to look this up. Make sure this is 11 and 12. Yep, this is 11 and 12. All right, so this needs to go here, back here. Is that right? Yeah. Is that right? Yes. Well, let me figure this out here. This was very funny. So there were two stories today about the Hardy brothers that were out there, Matt and Jeff Hardy. One was Matt Hardy being unhappy, apparently, with the booking direction for the Hardy brothers. You know, he still wants him and Jeff to be like going for the belts and higher on the card, and not necessarily in the position of getting some cheap pops and putting some people over. Like, that is not necessarily the position, because he thinks they got one more run in them, which I would disagree with, but I'm not Matt Hardy, so what can I say? The other Hardy brothers story that was out there, which I thought was very funny, is that Jeff Hardy is still suffering from double vision after eye surgery. He had eye surgery in March, and he still suffers from double vision. Which maybe, Matt, that's part of the reason why you and your brother aren't getting a push as big as you would like. Maybe it's because your brother has double vision often and is having trouble seeing. Maybe that has a little something to do with your current position on the card. Jesus. Sometimes wrestlers are so brothered up. There's no better way to describe it. Just like this, like, oh, I think we could do more and they could use us more often. Really? Okay. You and your brother really seem to have trouble walking. So, okay. I mean, all right. Sorry, I'm going to adjust my microphone a hair because I was peeking on the mic. So I'm going to take myself down just a hair. All right. How does this work here? This goes like this. Looks like that. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Wait a second. All right, so this is like this. And then this goes like that. Yeah. Yeah, all right. I was assembling this leg wrong. And I was like, why is this leg seem like I'm assembling it wrong? And the answer to that question was, because I was assembling it wrong. That was the big answer. Definitely haven't been doing table matches for nearly 30 years. Indeed. Between the addiction injuries, they need to phase out for their health. Yes, I think Matt Hardy should be employed by AEW and continue to be a backstage support. That he will be an excellent producer. He will be a great trainer. He has a good mind for the business. He will be great in promo classes or workshops or whatever. I think Jeff Hardy should not be traveling consistently. I think Jeff Hardy should have a home base and hang out at home and recuperate from his various injuries, mental and physical. And then also he should just not fly places and be on the road. That's just my opinion, but I think Jeff Hardy should fucking retire, and Matt Hardy should move into more of a backstage role and less of a wrestler. Because I think the idea of the Hardy Brothers being in AEW is a fun idea, but the reality is not as fun. The reality is sad. Also, Jeff Hardy is only 3 years older than me, and it's rare that I hear that someone is around my age, and I'm like, wow. I assumed that Jeff Hardy was older, way older than me, not only 3 years older than me. Jeff Hardy has lived a life, clearly. All right, we're gonna switch things up here for a second. I'm gonna take a pause for the cause. I'm gonna talk to you, friends, about ways you can support all of this and whatever I'm doing here. If you are currently a subscriber to the Build With Baer Workshop, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe, the Tier 2 Blue Emote, if you're a Tier 2 subscriber, into the chat. Being a subscriber is the easiest way to support what I do here through cash money, using cash like Harold, or your Prime Gaming token. If you have Amazon Prime linked with your Twitch, you can do that. That's another way to support what I do here. Or gifted subs. You could join Aristofan on the gift sub leaderboard. You just need to gift one sub and you join that leaderboard. We're currently at 44 subscribers. The goal is to get to 50. I shut up at 50. If you want to become a subscriber, you could. You could cheer like Harold has. That's always nice. I'm going to talk about different ways that you can support what I do here. All of these are optional. I want to make it very clear. You being here kicks ass, and I am very grateful for you spending any amount of time here with what I do. It rules. Thank you so much. If you would like, you can become a subscriber, and that would be great. There are other ways that you could subscribe if you wanted to. Like, you could go over to my Patreon at patreon.com/PatBear. There's a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. There are different rewards for the different tiers. Consider joining me on Patreon if you wanted to. Again, optional. Don't have to worry about it. If you want to do it, do it. Also, you go to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube. Subscribing is free. You can just do that if you wanted to. If you want to become a member over there, for just $2 a month, you get my Wednesday videos on Tuesday. I'm wrapping up this Wednesday project, Baerly Rehearsed. There's only a few of them left. If you want to become a member, you get those a day early. Also, you being a member there would get me closer to my payout, my $100 payout, so that I would then finally get that $100 and spend it on model kits. I always spend that on model kits. And then there's direct donations. Those are monthly ways to support me. If you want to just help me out once in a while, you can make through Coffee or PayPal. So direct donations, YouTube, which includes AdSense, so watching my videos helps me. Patreon and Twitch all goes into a fund, and I buy model kits with that fund. The Guncannon, the kit I'm working on, the arms that we built tonight on this Guncannon. That comes from your generosity. I was able to purchase that kit. I have a backlog of kits, a bunch of lovely stuff that I'm very happy to build. But you could decide, no, Pat, you're not building that. Christmas is right around the corner. You're building the thing that I buy you from your Amazon wish list. And I'll make a dedicated video about the thing that you just bought. Today, I posted a video about the power strips that Unjan bought that I am currently using on this computer. My computer is currently plugged in to power strips that I got off my Amazon wish list. There's a bunch of stuff. So thank you, Unjan. I made a video about them. There's Lego sets, model kits, inexpensive kits, expensive kits, kits that are constantly on sale, kits that seem to drop in price pretty frequently, kits with free shipping, kits without free shipping. All a bunch of different stuff that I would love to build and you could purchase. And then, like I said, I'll make a dedicated video and then I'll build it on stream. A couple things have jumped up in price since they got listed. Hopefully they'll come back down. And there's some gear at the bottom. There's still some gear. If you wanted to buy something to make my life a little easier, you could buy a piece of gear if you wanted to. I know somebody bought me a kit. I don't know who. Protect your electrical equipment. Indeed. Somebody bought me a kit. Again, I don't know who did that. Thank you to the person who bought me a kit. I won't say what it is until it arrives, but it used to be on my wish list. Now it isn't on my wish list, and I didn't take it off. So, somebody bought it. which is cool. The other way, my alternative to Amazon is Throne. I need to go in through there and add some new stuff because it's been a little while since I updated my Throne wish list. But if you want to buy something through Throne, you could do that. That would be cool. And then, of course, the most convoluted way, the way that only a few people have, but that's cool, is you go to USA Gundam Store, you buy a gift card at USA Gundam Store, you get a gift card code, then you send me a whisper on Twitch or a DM on Twitter with that gift card code, and I use that gift card code to buy something from USA Gundam Store. It comes to me in the mail, and again, I make a dedicated video, it jumps the queue, becomes the next thing that I work on. That's another way to go about it. If you want to go about it, you could do that. Oh yeah, join my Discord if you want to hang out. I post build photos at the end of every video. People post stuff they're working on. It's a nice little community of people. You're more than welcome to come hang out there. I have a new episode of Pat Bear's Anime Club. I would like you to watch it. It is my anime awards. It is my yearly thing where I say, screw you, Anime News Network. Get bent, Crunchyroll Anime Awards. It's time for me to tell you about my awards. And this year there is no award for Best Initial D reference because no anime that I watched made a direct Initial D reference that was out of the blue and very funny. Instead, I would just have to give it to MF Ghost, and I don't like that show, so I don't want to. But there are other categories, like, here's the first category. I'll tell you the first category. I won't tell you the winner. I wonder if you could guess. Best Vending Machine. I have a category called Best Vending Machine, and I won't tell you who won it. But you can find out that. Most surprising, like an anime that wasn't on my radar coming into 2023, but is one of my favorites. I included that. So a bunch of different categories. It's a fun little video. You can watch it. You can watch it, and maybe you should. Maybe you should watch it. Maybe you would like it. Maybe you should watch that because it would be nice if you did. How's that video doing? I shouldn't look at that. It's doing all right. It'll grow. It'll take a little while, but that'll do better. And then Baerly Rehearsed is an ongoing video series where every week I write and perform a new piece of comedy that I have rehearsed some amount. This particular video I thought was a very silly idea. I don't know. It's a weird one. This is a weird one, I will say. This one was called The Check, and it is a exercise in repetition that I found pretty funny. It was a joke in my head that I was just saying. I was just saying a phrase over and over again, like as I was working on other things. I just kept coming out of my mouth. I was like, "That's pretty funny. I'll probably write that up," and I did. I wrote it up. All right. Now I'm going to talk about some manga and then some anime because we've got some time left to stream. Then we'll talk about some video games as well. Before I get into that, I do need to drink some water because I am in need of that. And then we will finish off a leg and then panel line it and then work on to other leg. So we'll get into that in just a moment and we'll dramatically transition to the overhead camera right now. All right. It's Manga Monday, where I talk about some manga that I'm reading. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the hero life of a self-proclaimed mediocre demon. That's right. This has got parentheses and quotation marks in it, so you know it's going to be good. So I want to talk about this before I talk about this, if you know what I mean. If you get what I'm saying, I'll explain myself. So, Manga Monday started because there were times where there's like a gap in some seasons where I wasn't watching as much stuff, or there'd be a Mondays, like I only had like one show that I was watching on Sundays and Mondays, so I wanted to have more. I wanted to have more to talk about, so I would talk about more stuff. That's kind of where it started. And I read a lot of manga. I buy a lot of manga. I rent a lot of manga. I pursue a bunch of stuff, right? And eventually, I was just like, I started self-editing what I would talk to you about. Because some shows I gave up on. It didn't hit me as hard. It wasn't, it's like, oh, I don't really like this. Or, oh, I stopped. I did read a bunch of this, but I don't want to talk about it. So it became the point where I was only talking about the stuff I most wanted to talk about. And I think that's a little bit of a disservice. So my 2 criteria for talking about on Manga Monday are, have I read at least 10 chapters? 10 chapters is around 2 volumes. It's usually a little more than 2 volumes of a series, because that's a good indication of we get our characters out, we get the plot out, and we get a twist out. If the show has a twist, it usually is out by episode 10. So we get a little bit of a sense of what's going on with it, and then I can get into the nitty-gritty about it. There are more things to happen. There's at least another character that's going to get introduced, but at that point, I feel like I have watched enough of a thing, or read enough of a thing, that I can be honest about my thoughts on it, and we can move on from there. The Hero Life of a Self-Proclaimed Mediocre Demon is a manga that I started reading 2 years ago and put down. And then the collection was really cheap, and so I got the collection. It's still ongoing, but I'm up to date on it. And it is an unbelievably easy read. Good night, Harold. I'll catch you later. Thanks for hanging out. Mediocre Demon is inherently readable, and I had to double check that I had read it before, because I started reading it and I was like, oh, I don't know why I've never read this. And then I was like, oh no, I have read this. But I couldn't remember where I left off when I had stopped reading it the last time. And I think it's important to talk about those kind of books. What's the story? So Chrono shows up to Demon School. Demon School is just 1 year. At age 20, every demon goes to school for a year. And you learn more about what it's like to be a demon. They're a little iffy on what classes are, because we focus on the special class. And the special class seems to mostly just conquer dungeons underneath the castle that the classes take place in. And the Demon King is the dean of the school, because the Demon King is invested in making sure that demons understand their history and whatever. Also, the demons are a variety of races, and the races tend to stick together. They tend to just hang out with their own race. And so this is a chance for them to intermingle, to get to know one another, to maybe form some bonds and friendships or relationships or whatever. And Chrono, our main character, is a Jin. And a Jin is a kind of rare demon. There are not a lot of Jin out there. And he's a country boy. He's from the sticks. He's from this place that nobody's ever really heard of, that is unusual because a lot of different kinds of demons live there. He was the only kid there. He was the only young kid there. And so he's coming to school because he's read about school in books. And he's like, I'm going to experience it. His main goal is, I want to make friends. I'm going to school to make friends, and maybe figure out what kind of demon he wants to be and what he wants to do. Because his parents run an apothecary. He's probably going to end up working in an apothecary, but he wants to explore and learn some stuff. We never meet his parents in the many volumes that I have read of this. We know very little about his hometown. The major thing that we learn is that even though Jin are supposed to be a weak race, like they don't even have their horn, you can't even see their horns, they're so small. Chrono is fucking super strong. He's incredibly strong. He's very talented and just definitely the strongest person in the class. And like, the daughter of the vampire king is there. Like, arguably supposed to be one of the strongest. Like, very strong people of their races are there. And so it's the typical thing of like, oh, there are 2 women that like clearly love him. One is like a dedere. One is just outwardly in love with him, like clearly, obviously in love with him. there's like a bully, but like Chrono is so excited about meeting a real bully. And it turns out this dude is just tsundere, like he is just a tsundere boy, so it's fine. And there's a lot of jokes about that. He might be in love with Chrono. Haha, gay jokes. Haha. There's a lot of sexual humor because of a whole thing that happens where the vampire princess and an upperclassman, the only upperclassman we ever meet, seemingly, end up where at night they end up in his bed. They are transported to his bed, but they don't hate that, even though it's weird that it happens. And there's a lot of like annoying like high school like teen, quote unquote teen jokes. But for the most part, it's like a pretty straightforward action series where there are gags, there are jokes, there are things that you're like, oh, that's actually kind of clever how they did that, and oh, that's actually kind of neat. That is taking the idea and turning on its head a little bit. And there are some clever things that happen in it, but for the most part, it is a pretty straightforward series, and it's just fucking mediocre. I am telling you about a mediocre manga because I don't think I do that with manga and manhwa. I think what ends up happening is it goes on my list, and then eventually some stuff on my list I just never talk about. And I think I might have inadvertently, accidentally given the impression that I just read bangers, or that I think everything I read is good. And, you know, you'll hear about me talk about a show and you're like, that's not for me. But like, I do read stuff that is just like whatever. I want to give another example of something that I'm reading. Let me dig up another book that is like could end up being good, but right now, about halfway through, I find it to be incredibly mediocre. Oh, here we go. Here's a book that I'm reading right now. I'm finished with 4 chapters in. Heroic Tale of the Villainous Prince. He's the third prince. He has decided to act like an edgelord. The princess in a classic tale gets framed for being a villainess. She's not. He has decided that they're going to be engaged so that her bad reputation just folds onto him because he's constantly falling on his sword in order to protect the kingdom and his other brothers and all that, because he is the most talented of all of them, but because of his hair and eye color, people will never trust him, so he just lives up to their expectations of what being a villain prince will be. But he's not a villain, and also she genuinely likes him, and she's not unhappy to be engaged to him, and she's going through some stuff, and he's going through some stuff, and it's gonna be a romantic comedy series about them like making this engagement work, and it's mediocre. And like I might not get to 10 chapters of it. I might stop reading it any day now. You may never hear me do a full review of it because it's just fine. But I wanted to at least bring up the hero life of the self-proclaimed mediocre demon, because mediocre is in the title, and I think the show itself is pretty mediocre, and I thought that was a funny thing to say, and I wanted to make sure I got to say it. But also, yeah, I read some stuff that I don't necessarily think anyone else should read, and I'm not sure if I'll read. Like, when the next volume comes out, I don't think I'm going to buy it, because I was just like, Anyway, that's my manga recommendation, question mark. That was my excuse to talk about manga that I'm reading. Here's the anime. I am 1 episode behind still of I Shall... what happened? The title. What happened there? Sorry, hold on 1 second. I am still 1 episode behind on I Shall Survive Using Potions. This episode was weird. So, we're like more than halfway through this season. the big event happened. The war ended. We're in the future a little bit after the war. We've moved on. We're dealing with some other stuff, other things. They're in a brand new country. It's Kaoru, who is our girl that got reincarnated and is a friend of the goddess and is trying to spread her message and help people, but also is looking for a husband. They're traveling right now because she wants to settle down. We got the two kids whose names I can't remember. They were two of the young orphans that Kaoru helped out. They have decided to stick with her to help her out, and they are an item because they are now older and in a relationship. And then we got Prince Roland, who is the king's brother, who is part of the convoy helping out, and Fran, who is a knight of the goddess. That is the title she was given, who almost died in the previous arc, but was saved by Kaoru's potions. And of course, there's also the horse. We don't know the names of the other two horses, but one of the horses is named Ed. That's right, a horse named Ed that she can communicate with. A talking horse named Ed. Ed is one of my favorite characters in the show because that's just he's a proud horse named Ed. It's very silly. Anyway, they're in a new country. They're in the trading center of it. They're going to figure out what's going on. Kaoru, who is fairly convinced she might be immortal, which was not on purpose. She's like, I want to settle down and find a husband. And she meets a guy immediately. She meets several guys immediately in the new town. They kidnap her because we find out later they are kidnapping young women, and Kaoru is mistaken for someone even younger than she is. It is involved some kind of nobility in this town or in this country is kidnapping women to make them like, we don't know quite what's going to happen, but they're going to live in some houses and it's probably not going to be great. And at best, they will be, posing as someone's daughter, somebody that didn't have heirs or something. Not great. The rest of the gang is searching for Kaoru because she didn't come back for dinner, and that's not like Kaoru, so something bad must have happened. Kaoru basically allowed herself to get kidnapped because she was like, oh, it'll be easier to escape than, making a scene with all these dudes. She meets three young ladies, one of whom is named, what is her name? Rayette, and two other young ladies are with her. So a reoccurring gag in this is that Kaoru decides these kidnappers kidnap pretty young ladies. That makes me a pretty young lady. Now, they just kidnap young ladies, but Kaoru decides that, these clearly only kidnap pretty young ladies. That means they think I'm pretty. It's a recurring joke. It happens a lot in there. And at one point, Fran's just like, you really are emphasizing the pretty part. What's going on with that? Is a fun bit of business. So it looks like the kidnappers are taking them. They're leaving the town. Kaoru tries to make an escape and get the attention of the guards because they're leaving the city. And turns out some of these guards are in on it. So she sends up a signal flare to get her friends to come help her. But she doesn't need the signal flare. She does not need her friends to come help her because Kaoru is more than capable of solving this problem on her own because as you may remember, she can make anything. She can make any kind of potion and can make any kind of container for that potion. So she can make a potion container that looks like a pepper spray canister that shoots a potion, which is pepper spray. So she pepper sprays these guys to protect herself and the children. The knights show up. Other not involved soldiers come, or guards, I should say. The local lord comes. It's very clear he's not part of this, so another noble is involved in it. And Kaoru basically uses, she's been like, oh, I'm just a little girl. I didn't solve this, the goddess came down and she did this and this and this. And she said that this needs to get handled. And if it doesn't get handled, the town could burst into flames. Because Kaoru's like, no one's going to believe me. And I want to keep, a low key profile. So that's her solution, which is, to me, very funny. That she's just like, yeah, you better figure out who's running this kidnapping ring. Otherwise, the goddess might burn down this town. Which I thought was pretty funny. Two of the kidnapped girls get reunited with their parents, which is lovely. But we find out that Rayette was sold as a debt slave. And she was kidnapped. So she's not going to be a debt slave anymore, but she doesn't have any parents. And they're going to we'll probably send her to the orphanage, which would certainly be better than the alternative. And you're like, fuck yeah, definitely better than the alternative. But, oh, that sucks. But we're like, well, we'll say that the goddess helped her and that'll keep people from messing with her. And Kaoru's just like, well, I guess I'll just adopt her. She's my little sister now. So we've added another young kid. And once again, Fran, the sometimes weird, often voice of reason, is just like, what do you mean it's settled now? What are you talking about? But that is, they leave town. Kaoru is riding her horse with Riette and is like, this actually could be dangerous for a kid. I'm going to make a carriage. And Ed, who is very prideful, he's a battle horse. He's a goddamn war horse. He's just like, no, I'm not going to pull a carriage. Come on, I got my pride. Turns out that carriage is a futuristic, cool battle carriage. It's a battle chariot. Pardon me, I'm sorry. It's a battle chariot, and it's got it transforms and has weapons, and is pretty fucking cool. And then Ed, of course, wants to pull that chariot because it's rad looking, and it's a cool battle vehicle. And he's just like, actually, yeah, please let me do that. I thought that was pretty funny. And that's the end of the episode. Oh, no, sorry. At the very end of the episode, the goddess of this world is talking with the goddess of Earth, who she has a crush on, and letting that god, hey, Kaoru's doing this. Kaoru's doing great. She's really representing and doing a great job, and he's proud of her, and everyone's happy. But somewhere in that world, another time distortion is happening, and so things might get a little hairy in episode 10. Which is already out, but I have not watched, and I will watch at some point. Maybe I'll review it. Maybe I'll talk about it for Thursday. I don't know. The other show I want to talk to you about is The Family Circumstances of the Irregular Witch, which is a comedy about a witch who finds a young girl as a baby in the woods and decides, or the forest, decides, I'm going to raise this child. And they have a very close relationship. And they don't want any of these annoying dudes getting in the way of their mother-daughter relationship, which constantly happens. The last episode, I think, we had the father show up, and it was chaos and weird. In this episode, we're dealing with some minor characters. Lyra and Pondo's son is locked in his room. He will not come out. And Pondo is like, if Lyra finds out, she's going to make this a big fucking thing. It's going to be a whole goddamn thing. Can you help Viola? Viola, could you please help? And then eventually, Viola is like, or Viola does decide to help. And the son is just like, I'm just embarrassed because my hair is so messy that I didn't want to be seen in public. And Viola's like, that's such a dumb reason. I don't even know how to handle that reason. It's so childish. So she does tell Lyra what's going on. And then Lyra gets Violet, and the son is kind of beat up to force him out of this room. Turns out he was specifically embarrassed because he didn't want Viola to see him with messy hair because he's got a crush on her. This is his first big crush. So his dad is like, oh, all right. Well, my son's got crushes on eligible bachelorette, who is not an eligible bachelorette, but everyone thinks is. So that was, I was like, that's your A story? Okay, sure. But actually, honestly, most of the story is the second thing. Um, uh, also, Viola doesn't know about the crush, and she makes a potion that will uh, fix his messy hair. Basically, she makes a cure for the hair. And I thought it was kind of cute. Um, okay, Gita has an egg, and everyone is really supportive of Gita being a new mother and hatching that egg. And I guess there's a park where a lot of new children go and play, and then the mothers and fathers can make friends and network. We see that in real life. That's kind of fun. Um, Unfortunately, uh, Lady is there, a character named Lady, who is a childhood enemy. They were enemies as kids. Um, uh, this was Lyra's frenemy. Uh, and Lady, it turns out Lady is a tsundere, so my least favorite character trope, but that's where we're at. Lady is a tsundere. And Lady um, apparently wanted to be friends, but she couldn't make that. She couldn't say it. So instead, she acted out, and she could never fix it because that's a trait of tsundere. The only way tsundere really works is if the other person is like, oh, okay, you actually mean well, and you're just being awkward because that's how you operate. Okay, like they have to get your vibe before they can move on from it. Um, she challenges Gita to a park debut contest because her friend Birdie is a first time mother, and she's like, "Who's the best new mom? We'll have people decide," which is a weird thing to do, but again, tsundere. And they go and talk to moms and whatever and chat, and then Alyssa declares the contest a tie, and then she's like, "Everybody apologize." Um, and it seems like Alyssa is the only person that has understood. Oh, Lady just wants it. She needs to be pushed into this friendship. She wants to be a friend. She's a tsundere. Okay. Um, but Lady panics and she does not want to have a handshake with Lyra, and she runs away. And they're like, I guess that didn't work. And that's the end of the episode. Will Lady and Lyra become friends later? I don't know. This was a weird way to close out that episode. But the thing I will say, I enjoy the family circumstances of the Irregular Witch. I like this is a very easily consumable, enjoyable anime. It's not for everybody. I think it's very funny. But the big joke in it, I don't mind them taking a break from now and again. The big joke of if you're a guy interested in one of them, the other one is going to fuck around and try to make your life miserable because they don't want to be separated by, a boyfriend or whatever, or a husband or something. The only other story beat in there is the Phoenix they named Phoenix, who acts like a cat, which is just a great recurring character. That's one of my favorite supporting characters in any show this year. Is Phoenix. Phoenix is great. Phoenix is an A+. Phoenix is not up there as far with every fucking animal in Too Cute Crisis, because Too Cute Crisis has just an abundance of wonderful little animal friends. Like when that episode with the hamsters are there. Oh, Jesus Christ, those hamsters are great. But it's pretty high up there as far as pets and familiars in anime go. Pretty good. We finished another leg, and I'm done talking about anime for the moment, for now. And I want to hear from you, friends. What are you watching? What are you playing? What are you into right now? Are you go to the movies this weekend? What's going on? I didn't play a lot of games yesterday and today because I had some projects that I was working on today. And yesterday, also I'll talk while give you a chance to write in chat, and then I'll go through everything that you're writing in chat. But yesterday we decorated. I posted some photos on all my social medias. Have some photos of the various things that I decorated. Put up the tree, artificial tree, and decorated that. Finished the outside. There's a Santa hat on the mailbox. There's a Santa hat and a little coat on. My mom bought them. I think they're meant for dolls or pets, but she put them on the bird in our front yard, the metal bird. Now is dressed for the winter, for the holiday, which is very fun and very much my mom's sense of decorating. But yeah, we got a lot of decorating done. The outside is all done. Inside is all done. There's a little bit more that needs to get done outside. I'm waiting on a string of battery operated lights because we have a tree, it's a tree, quote unquote. We have this thing. It's full of bottles that is for decoration, and I'm going to run a string of lights around it. But it's not near a power source, and we didn't want to run an extension cable where it's located. So I bought this string of lights that are battery powered. They come in the mail tomorrow, and then that'll be like the last major thing that needs to get done on my watch. And then I can move on to just doing other stuff, which will be great. I did finish Thirsty Suitors, though. I recommend it. I think there's a good balance of just about everything. I did have to look up some stuff, which I think that's on me and good. That there were a few things here and there that I was like, I'm not 100% sure what that is, what this, like, I want to know more about this food. And so, like, I thought that was neat. It's well written. It as far as fucking games go, it performs really well. I think the skateboarding is really fun, and the trick system is fun, and the fights are fun. And there's a lot of shitty dudes in there that you got to whip, you got to, like, fight them off, and that's cool. And it's ostensibly a story about family and trying to get your family to understand where you're going, what you're about, and back you up. And I really liked it. Thirsty Suitors, I would say it's cool, and you should check it out. And then Hearthstone. I've been playing Hearthstone. I got a new deck in Hearthstone. It's silly. When it works very well. It doesn't work very well that often. That's kind of my go-to with decks like that, with Hearthstone decks. So I'm still playing it pretty consistently and having a good time. All right, so this needs to go like this. You know how it goes. I need another game. I don't know what it's going to be. I need another indie game to play. I actually probably need another game to play on stream for the future, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I know what I'm doing. For Tuesdays, so I'm talking about more for like next year. I don't know what I'm going to be doing every week. Speaking of which, before I read Tony the Swordsman and Lashbrook's stuff in chat, I will just say that my next gaming stream is tomorrow, and I would hope that y'all would come come hang out and participate, because we're going to take another look at Jackbox Party Pack 10. We've only done one Jackbox stream. It's time to do a second Jackbox stream. So come hang out as we Jackbox. We'll do some TKO2 and at least 2 other games. I think we're going to look at 3. That's tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you only want to come for a little bit, only come for a little bit. If you want to hang out the full 2 hours, please hang out the full 2 hours. It'll be fun. Tony the Swordsman says, I signed up for Game Pass for the first time and downloaded Quake 2, Chained Echoes, Tunic, and Gears Tactics. Lots of fun. Love just jumping from one game to another. Hell yeah. The only thing I will say is, you will reach a point in Tunic where you will have wished that you focused on Tunic, because Tunic can get to a point where you like might forget some of the mechanics or or like where you were and what you were doing in it. So you might want to, if you're vibing with Tunic, I would say keep playing Tunic. That would be my recommendation. But yeah, it is fun to just jump in and try a bunch of stuff, see what sticks. Lastbrook says, once watched a bunch of One Piece. This tournament in Dressrosa is bad. So here's the thing. It gets really good. Dressrosa takes a very long time to kick ass, but it does, because it's introducing you to a lot of characters, and you say, none of these characters are going to be important. And you're right about most of them, but some of them become kind of important, or pretty important, or at least important in this arc. Some of the people in the tournament are pretty fucking cool and pretty fucking fun. And I would say just give them a chance. Give yourself a chance to love some goofy, weird characters, because there's some goofy, real weird characters in Dressrosa. But it does take a while before you're like, all right, are we fighting yet? It just takes quite a bit. Tony the Swordsman says, yeah, I like Tunic and New. I had to take the time to dedicate to it. Yes, you definitely do. Koromon is a fun Pokemon like. If you haven't checked that out, I recommend it. It's cool. I have heard good things about Koromon. I have not checked that out, and I certainly endeavor to do so. So maybe I'll check that out. I've panel lined this and I'll clean it up. Lord Crashington says, I watched the new H-Bomber guy video about YouTube plagiarism, and I'm glad the few people I follow aren't a part of any of that shit. Yes. So, I had a tweet today about that where people were like, how can you watch a 4-hour video? And I'm like, I'm a freelancer and it's December. I've watched that video twice now. I got fucking time to watch videos. I watched it yesterday and I watched almost all of it today. Again, I got time for that shit. I got time to watch like long videos. Sometimes I've got nothing but time. That video I think is totally worth checking out, even if you only watch the first half an hour, because the first half hour of it is very focused on a plagiarist in the games reviews world, and so you get to have like a joke about if you have trouble writing, you shouldn't plagiarize Jeremy Parrish because he's going to use words that you definitely don't know, which I thought was very funny. But yeah, there were just some people getting referenced here and there, and that was like, hell yeah. But also like, fuck all those fucking plagiarists. I don't want to say that the reason I don't do video essays the way other people do video essays is because I don't want to be compared to those video essayists. The truth of the matter is, when I do Pat Bear's Anime Club, I could have it all be voiceover and maybe a couple clips to me talking, but I could do primarily voiceover stuff, and I could have footage out there, and I could do all the stuff that video essayists do, but I don't want to be considered a video essayist. I'm a guy that makes YouTube videos. I'm a YouTuber, I guess you could say. I'm a guy that makes YouTube videos, and the YouTube videos that I make are sometimes me talking directly to camera about a thing. Like, my early Pat Bear's Anime Clubs are on a green screen, and most of the screen is like my PowerPoint, or now my Google Slides. And eventually I switched that to make myself most of the camera, or most of the frame, because I was like, oh, that's not the important part. The important part is me talking to the audience. But I don't want to be compared to video essayists, totally. If it's something that's really easy to check, nobody does. Yeah, nobody does. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. A lot of people are like, I had no idea I was being plagiarized, and especially in cases of people with small reach or people that don't watch those kinds of videos. So, because the way to find the plagiarism is somebody has to go, this feels like you copied this, and I know what you did and who you copied, and then I have to do my own research about it, and then I have to be the person that says, hey, you fucking plagiarized this, asshole. And so you have to do all of that, and not everybody wants to do all of that. It's a lot. It's a lot of work to do all that. And some people just don't want to they don't want to expose, because you have cases where suddenly you're getting attacked for being a hater or being part of a group that is trying to wreck someone or ruin something. And also people make liking a creator or liking a group part of their personality. And so you have to fight that, where it's just like, it's easier to believe clear bullshit than it is to believe that the person you invested time and energy in is shit, even though statistically they're shit. Also, yes, archiving your stuff is good, but some people, you may recognize this, Lord Crashton, and some people have trauma connected with their previous employment, and they aren't interested in backing up the work that was paid by said employment, or they're not reticent to do it immediately. So we're not going to finish this kit tonight because we still have a weapon to build, we have alternative hands, and we have water slides to do. So we're going to wrap this kit up on Thursday because I could get the gun built. The gun doesn't take too long to build, but I'm not going to do the water slides right now. Because that's going to require some effort. I also don't know which water slide I'm going to do because I have different numbers to do here. I am going to water slide this. I mean, even the photo doesn't have it. There's going to a number that's going to go on the chest and a number that's going to go on the foot. I'm going to do it that style, like it is in the drawing there. And I don't know. I think I'll do 108 probably. But also, if I fuck up 108, then I can do 109 because it's a water slide. But yeah, I'm going to do the 2 water slides. I'm going to do the water slide down here and the water slide here on the chest in a future stream on Thursday. But that is going to wrap up tonight's stream. And I want to thank everybody for taking the time to hang out with me. I hope you all had a good time. I had a very good time on tonight's stream. We are going to raid, so I'm going to set that up. I'm sorry that no frames dropped, but our bit rate did suffer a bit tonight because I have that set up, but that's still fine. We always end with a raid, as John says. Reminder, tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, playing Jackbox Party Pack 10 with you, ? Hopefully. Mary Kish is playing Just Dance 2024 for Extra Life. So if you've got some coinage and you want to help out Mary Kish as Mary Kish dances for... Mary Kish is dancing for money. But that money is for charity. So Mary Kish is dancing for charity. So if you want to, yes, in costume. If you want to hang out with Mary and support her efforts, please do so. We're going to go raid Mary Kish. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. I hope to see you tomorrow for Jackbox Party Pack 10. I hope to see you on Thursday for me completing the Guncannon. There will be a poll that will go out tomorrow for my $10 patrons to decide what I'm building next. So please join me for that. I'll see you in the next stream. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.